Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today, presented by Snickers. Snickers satisfies. I'm Jamie Eisenberg. That's Dave Richard. That's Heath Cummings. We have the waiver wire moves that you're looking at the quarterback and running back position. We'll start with the quarterbacks, and here are the ones that you should be adding for this week. Remember, this is a position that could be dealing with some significant injuries, specifically to Lamar Jackson, to Josh Allen, and to potentially Aaron Rodgers. So here's the list. I changed some things, so Tua should be number one on this list. That's my fault for not putting it in initially. But Tua's number one, Roethlisberger 2, Fields number 3, Garoppolo. These are the guys that could be streaming options for you. And then you get some of the replacement guys. Tyler Huntley, Mitchell Trubisky clearly would be injury options if, in fact, the starters are out. And then Davis Mills, give him credit. His last 2 starts, 19 or more fantasy points, and taking on a Jacksonville team that just might be giving up if they want to get Urban Meyer out of there. You never know how those things go when you look at some of these teams with a struggling head coach. All right, so let's talk about, we'll start with Tua first. So Tua's in a great spot, taking on a Jets defense that is bad. He's 20 fantasy points against them. He actually is one of 2 quarterbacks not to get over 22 fantasy points against the Jets in their last 9 meetings. So we said this when we were talking about some of the quarterback replacements for Lamar Jackson. Is this a slam dunk number 1 quarterback for this week?
I think it is. And you just consider what's going on with the Dolphins' run game and the fact that they've already been a very pass-heavy team to begin with, and now they've got problems with the running position. I think you're going to see Tua have the offense centered around him against the Jets. So while they won't take advantage of that amazing matchup for their running backs, it's still an amazing matchup for their quarterback, who, by the way, can run a little bit himself.
He's really taken a step forward this year, especially in the second half of the year, starting to look like at least a league average quarterback. And if you're a league average quarterback facing the New York Jets, then you are a starting quarterback.
We'll see how he does. He got Devontae Parker back last game for them, which was before their bye in Week 14. Maybe Will Fuller comes back this week. Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle. It's a good receiving core if everybody's there. And again, the lack of a run game puts everything on his shoulders, and he's been playing well, putting the doubters to rest a little bit so far with the stretch run. Dolphins well within the playoff race. Same with the Steelers. Tough loss for them last week against the Minnesota Vikings, but they come back against a Titans team that's been very up and down against opposing quarterbacks of late. 2 of the last 4 against them, 23 or more fantasy points. One of those was Mac Jones, and Roethlisberger 20 or more fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 games, including 2 in a row. So Heath, is Ben Roethlisberger in the streaming conversation as a starter in 1 quarterback league?
He's in the conversation. I'm still just a little bit skeptical just because he doesn't run, so he's got to be really good with his arm. And he was in his most recent game. He has been a couple times lately. It's mostly been when he throws the ball 40-plus times. I don't know in this game against the Titans, with as slow as they play and their ball control type of offense, he's going to have that type of volume. I think it'll come down probably to the 4th quarter where he's sitting around 18 points, and does he get that last touchdown?
It's very possible that he does, though, because we've seen it now. I think it's 4 of his last 5 games. He's given you at least 20 fantasy points, so you should have some confidence in him. I think Tua's a little bit safer, and it's a little bit more because of the matchup, and I think the Titans' defense deserves some credit. But Heath said it. They've been up and down, and I think Roethlisberger and the Steelers see a path to the playoffs in the AFC North because of all the other teams messing up this weekend, and there's an injury in Baltimore, so they're going to keep fighting pretty hard. And I would imagine that they actually bounce back and have a big game, and Roethlisberger's been throwing a lot. I don't think that's going away.
It's going back, 3 weeks now where the Athletic suggested the offense run through him, and they've been playing better offensively, more up-tempo. So while they are going against a team that's going to slow things down, they're picking up the pace a little bit, and we'll see if that matters for them and how Roethlisberger does for you. Again, more 14-team, 16-team leagues. You don't want to start him necessarily in a 10 or 12-team league, but he has played well.